until the day we come to help her stepdad clean the place up, clean the property. And we were outside, they were all outside, and I'm inside, just looking around the house. And I'm downstairs in the basement, just looking things out, and I hear, and that's all I heard. I figured they were up here, done something. And then my next thought was maybe somebody's upstairs. We hadn't cleared the house, it was been vacant forever, so I'll go upstairs, clear it, make sure nobody was in here squat or something. And go back outside with them. I said, so why'd you guys come back inside for? We didn't. I said, yeah, did you come back inside? Her dad leans over to her mom and says, yeah, I told you. Okay, told us what, now we're curious. And he said, well, it's haunted. And then we started getting that whole story of why he thought it was haunted, and we'll go into all of that later, but it ended up being a very interesting story. But he said that the name was outside, it was Mr. Davy, you think, who owned it, and we were trying to research. We scraped the paint off, and there was his name, and the nameplate, RBC Davies. So that's why we call it Davies' house. There was 2 wakes in the house. One was Mr. Davies, and then we believe his son, and what was his son's name?
Walter and Orville?
Walter and Orville. They both passed, correct?
Yeah.
The one passed in 1920. There is a 1920 out there on the nameplate. We have no idea why it's 1920. The house was built in 1910.
Walter died in 1918 and Orville died in 1920.
There we go. So we don't know why it says 1920 out there on the plate, because the house was built like 1910. The address has always been 701 Jefferson. Even in his obituary in 1939, it says his address was 701. So we don't know why that's here. So Walter Orville, we know at least 2 wakes were here in the house. And we believe it was here in this area here. So this section here, we didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it until later on. We started setting up in there, and people started seeing shadows. They were swearing people's coming out of that back bedroom, coming up the stairs, a lot of stuff going on in the kitchen. So we just started, and then we found out later why something could be going on here in the kitchen, or in this room. Kitchen's really interesting. K2 hits, some flashlight play, a lot of spirit box sessions going on in here. You'll get a lot of things that's very relevant, as if you were talking to somebody in the church, like a pastor and stuff. And then we found out Mr. Davies was very prominent in downtown business area. He also was prominent with the church and stuff. So that all kind of fits in to that. The house responds to party talk. This house loves to party. The house, or the owner, her stepdad, early 70s is when the family got it? Early 70s, and he's owned it ever since. And he liked to party back then, bachelor. He wasn't married until 12/12/12. So all the way through, that's what this house has been known for. Possible some outlaw bike clubs have partaking parties in here, or at least some friends of. Coke use, everything from the 70s and 80s. If you can think of what a party house was, it's happened here. There was a confirmed overdose in the house, and Chris actually picked that up, and that was confirmed. So, anything so far through here? Not Monica. Monica was the other. Debbie.
Debbie was the one that was...
Yeah, Debbie. I don't know why Monica come mind all of a sudden, that was weird. But Debbie who killed herself here, and they were really close. So we think maybe that's why this room is kind of what happens in there, because they were kind of close and stuff, and that was her stepson's room. This room in here, watch the cord. We call this Rita's room. And we call it Rita's room because we were in here talking live session, just talking about the house. And her sister, I'm going to call her sister, said, hey, you're in Rita's room. And if you look at the door, it's got Rita on it. And then we heard the story of Rita. Rita lived here in between her stepdad and somebody else. And husband was real abusive. beat her, we locked her in here, wouldn't let her go out, do anything. In this room, watch out for real tall entities, doppelganger. You get a different emotions in here. Some is like a child-like. Sometimes it's a little girl, sometimes it's a little boy. Sometimes it's like adolescent sex emotions. A lot of weird emotion goes on in this room. We're not sure what all of it is. We've seen tall shadows, real little shadows. We've had people touched in here a lot. It's possible that whatever was going on in here back then could have helped manifest something that was a little darker or something that was never human to begin with. None of these dolls here are part of the house. I see Bud on. We just brought them in as trigger objects and things that he does. The only doll that was part of the house is over there standing next to Will. That was found in the basement. So.
Remember what you just told me.
Do these cameras take pictures?
Do it?
Oh, there's one.
Do these snap pictures?
Yeah, I've got them set on a DVR.
Okay, so I just heard it snap.
Yeah, it's probably just the light. It switched back and forth from night vision to standard.
What is this was here? Or what?
It just had a kid in here. There was a kid's room, I guess. The guy that had it before I was living here that got evicted and stuff, he trashed his house. Completely trashed it, so.
Yeah, it sounds like someone shot BBs all over.
Yeah. So that's what that is. If there's anybody here that's sensitive right now, pay attention to your transitions between different rooms and stuff. You can actually feel the transition.
From this room to there.
Like,
See, and I
it
don't-
feels like a
Like
threshold.
feeling wise.
Well, I feel more emotional in here than I.
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, no, I do. I walked in here and I just
Very
felt like a
heavy.
heavy feeling in my chest.
Yeah, this house,
Harder to breathe.
this house will,
What?
Harder to breathe.
Yeah.
if you want to, but this
I
house
guess you could say that's a
will
heavy.
cause doppelgangers, scratches,
Yes, they
people that you think is part of your group, walking behind you, like, yeah, hey, what? And there's
Well, I just
somebody
happened the
there.
other day.
I'm just trying to
Right.
Figure it out.
either take a faster photo.
In this section here, it's
Yeah,
challenging.
Good luck.
So all of this, pay real close attention.
Good luck, because we can't get this to do faster photos either.
Like, I figured it out on my camera, but this is his, and I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Always use your phone, just turn on airplane mode, they said.
I always do.
Yours is a Nokia, isn't it?
I've been investigating for over 20 years.
Yeah?
Holy
It is
crap.
cold.
It could have been on today.
There is a whole hidden room back there.
Holy shit, it's cold.
So that it goes from this wall all the way to the doorway, all the way down the floor. We probably was the old coal room or something. There's only an access panel from the outside. This is where she hung herself. Was off of these pipes. Back then, these pipes were metal. And they come across straight, and this is where she hung herself. So. We think it was an accidental suicide. She wasn't real serious. He was going to break up with her. So she was just going to leave this note, hey, poor me, I can't live without you, whatever. And he come downstairs. We are guessing. She heard the door open, think, okay, now's my chance. Only he went back upstairs to check the rest of the house, see where other things were at. And she either slipped, fell, or purposely kicked the chair off my knee. And she was a small woman, so, even that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten faces in the window or anything right here?
Not here. We have captured stuff on SLS. This is where I was at when I heard that real loud thump. Was actually right here.
From upstairs. That makes sense.
The other room that I was talking about up there is where they laid her body when she cut down a little bit. So that was her final resting place in the house.
The Rita's room.
No, the middle living room, just
Oh,
outside the
okay,
kitchen. And that would make sense on some of those.
She's where she hung herself.
Let's put us out.
Very excited.
I am. I'm very excited.
Just grab my head.
She done got our mess cleaned up, but This room here, I'm actually going to turn this other light off, and I'll show you how dark it gets down here. But this room right there, we have seen what I would call a it wasn't white, but it was black. Solid black, little tiny orb. Come from here, went around in the light, and then it was gone. We captured that. There's reports of a portal here in the house. Some people think the portal's in this area. I think if there is a portal, it's in there. So, but this is how dark. And you will actually feel and see people walking up on you. We're walking here in this room. And it is there.
I'm so curious about that.
We call this the band room just because we've had a lot of interaction. If you start talking about band music, things like that. A lot of talk in this room. If you start talking about drugs, partying, free love, you start getting responses. This is where everybody partied at back in the day. It was down here in the basement and stuff. So just dowsing rods, K2, spirit boxes, any type of equipment imaginable, or just your own senses. This room really seems to start having, we've heard voices down here. We've actually heard laughing down here. We've had people physically become sick and drained and have to go back upstairs. And I'll shut the furnace off when we get going too, as we need to. This room, we've had shadows, but we don't understand the shadows. Kind of peering out, looking, big, tall shadows. I've never felt, never even investigated this room. So, we'll go back upstairs. And this odor, sometimes you'll get like a perfume smell.
They just said something about a whiskey smell.
So, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a perfume smell.
We got that real bad in Rita's room the other night we were here.
Okay.
Real bad.
So we'll go upstairs to the other part of the house.
There's like a lavender.
Okay. Yes. Right. Then we're going to go this way.
It's so sad.
The cords are going to be here now.
Where you were down there. You haven't drank anything down there. We're thinking about it one day.
Going on upstairs here. We have no idea what this messed up redneck was trying to do. And that's the only thing we can figure out is he's a deer. I don't know.
He is human.
Supposedly, the guy that was living here was a well-known carpenter and stuff and doing stuff. But that's got the better part of him, and we just have no clue. So this room is what we call Monica's lair. Monica was practicing magic, for lack of a better term. She liked to do a lot of different card readings, crystal ball readings, things like that. They say that she'd opened something, people think she opened up a portal or something, and never closed it. Well, maybe, maybe not. Because if you're practicing magic, you know what you're doing, and you're not just gonna open up something and on purpose forget to close it. So, we've had people think that there's something up here that she brought in. We don't know if it was, there was been succubus has actually been mentioned, routine Dr. Succubus, because it seemed to like going after women. I think it was, the women could be just another entity, something else going on. There was a report of a fetch has been made here. A fetch is something that a witch will create, and it helps protect her area, her surrounding, kind of like a doppelganger, take the form of anything or anyone. So, a lot of different ideas on that one. And Chris, you said you picked up something also that you don't think is human or walks. Also. So all that's why we call this Monica's room. You can do Ouija board, whatever you want to do up here. If it was witch's lair, then use whatever.
Is there a mirror in that room?
Do what?
Is there a mirror back there?
There is a mirror in the room.
Okay, I was...
Yep. Wait, there's nothing back here.
Don't talk to me now. I haven't started yet.
I don't know. This room has been newly named the Boom Boom Room. And you come in this direction, you'll see why they gave it the name Boom Boom Room. Back in the 70s and 80s, he was a bachelor and he liked to party. So you put a hot tub in your party room.
Yes.
So it was another, she was here investigating with her husband and stuff, and she's like, the Boom Boom Room. Okay, it's the Boom Boom Room. Here, we got mirror play. We've had people that come from a Facebook page.
Okay.
From my Facebook page, that the kids that were living here at the time, the girl was like, I hated that room, I hated it. I'd always seen things looking at me, mirrors. I don't know why. There's always stuff coming out of mirrors. So we put a mirror up here just to play around with. And then we got the bright idea, let's put two mirrors together. Really have some fun with it.
Yeah, she did that in my
I didn't mean to. I really didn't.
activity in the house.
So we get mirror play up here.
Is it?
We've had entities peeking around the corner, standing where he's standing. So, but nothing's ever happened up here. Just feelings, anxiousness, sometimes sad, but mainly just things watching you. People feel different. They get heavy-chested or they get sick.
That's exactly what I feel.
So, any questions about anything at all?
She looks nervous.
Me? I'm
This
just
is her
chilling.
first, actually.